Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Big Akar Ahmed, and welcome to today's video. Just a little topic touch on before we start here today. My previous videos, I've been commenting a lot, been having a good time in my comment section. I notice that I post a lot of different content. I post about Christianity, I post about Islam, I post about Judaism, I post about Hinduism, I post about a lot of different religions, cultures, things of that sort, political topics, YouTubers, things like that, athletes, people who speak. I touch on basically what they say on news, on different things like that. So I bring in a lot of crowds from a lot of different places, and I understand that I may offend a lot of people. For instance, I'm Muslim. When I speak about Christianity, someone who's Christian might come in here and feel offended that I'm speaking on Christianity, and it might come off in a defensive way, where they're like, "Oh, f this guy." Same thing if you're Jewish, same thing if you're Hindu, same thing if you're atheist, same thing if you're black or whatever you are, doesn't matter. As long as I don't look like you, I'm not from the same exact group as you. If I say something about you or about your group or about your religion, even if it wasn't bad or wasn't in like a negative light, you can take offense to that, or you can get defensive based on the things that I say, and I completely understand that. Now, I do like to comment in my comment section and let it rip in the comment section. And the reason I like to do that, most of the people who are commenting are assholes. They're people who just come to cause a disturbance, to argue online, to tell me my prophet's a pedophile and my God's fake, and all of this mumbo jumbo without any knowledge or without having a basis or telling me why. They just come to, pick and poke at you. And I understand that 99.9% of those people, no matter what I say to them, I'm not going to change them. They're going to be an asshole regardless. But I do know that a lot of the times I have given detailed explanation to these a-holes. There's been 1, 2, 3 that actually realize they're being ignorant and realize they're just going video to video and spamming bullshit, and actually have a conversation with me, and we end up coming out of that conversation way better than it started. I can tell you that. And that person walks away feeling a lot better than they did when they came in with their hateful, projections that they wanted to place on me because of whatever they're going through in their own life. So I wanted to touch on that, guys. I don't just sit in the comments and just comment because I'm frustrated or I'm mad. I can honestly care less when it comes down to it. I know if I'm speaking on ice cream and someone who owns an ice cream shop is watching my video and I say something wrong, it's going to piss them off. That's not how you do it. You do it like this. Like, I get it. People get defensive when you speak on things that they love or they enjoy or that is personal to them, and it puts them in defense mode, which I completely understand. I'm going to respond. I like to respond to comments. It doesn't matter what the comment says. It doesn't matter if it's positive, if it's negative. I like to respond to these comments. I like to give context. I like to give information for other people who can see it, for the original person who commented that ignorant stuff, and I want to see it. Let's go ahead and jump right into this and see what Mr. George Janko has to say. It says we're all chosen to lead and spread the word. I 100% agree with this. I just have some questions for you, Mr. George Janko. George Janko is really, 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 really big YouTube podcaster at the moment. He was on the Logan Paul Impulsive podcast as a co-host. He had fallen through with that. He had problems with Logan Paul and the people that were around, and he decided to split off and go his own way. George is very, very religious Christian man. I admire this man. Very, very well spoken, very, very respectful, gives a lot of good questions and information, talks to the right people, brings intelligent people who give value to the world on his show and gives value to people. He doesn't bring porn stars and music artists and a bunch of crap to talk about real topics with, right? He brings legitimate people who should be talking about these topics and talks about them. So big ups to you, George. Love you, brother, and keep doing what you're doing.
Apostle Paul, he was killing Christians. He just destroys this Christian that was a disciple in front of him. And that Christian was like, this is so predictable. Look at you guys. He goes, you guys have done this on and on and on. And then God took Paul and made him one of the greatest disciples. When Jesus was born, the first thing they ask is, from where? That's their first question. The ghetto? What good comes from that place? The kings of kings is coming from there? Don't believe it. Are kings coming in on a donkey? I don't believe it. This is an ongoing thing that people don't understand. The humans would be like, God would never use that guy, and then there's like, oh, use that guy.
So George, awesome. I agree with you, but the one thing I just don't really like here in this example is how you're kind of comparing Paul to Jesus. And I know you're not comparing Paul to Jesus. I know you are not comparing Paul to Jesus. I know. I 100% know you are not comparing Apostle Paul to Jesus Christ. I know this. Issue is, a lot of other people who aren't from your generation, my generation, use half their brain, who basically have their brain getting worked for them by the internet. It's going to be hard for them to decipher exactly what you're saying, right? And that could also allow people to think that the bad things that they do are acceptable and it's okay, and God's somehow going to just come and work through them even though they're doing bad things. So I'm gonna go ahead and explain this. Comparing Paul, who was murdering Christians and denying Jesus' word and telling people stay away from Jesus Christ, Jesus is a fraud, Christianity is this, he was chaining up Christians and killing Christians. Comparing a man like this to Jesus coming in on a donkey it's disrespectful to Jesus, in my opinion. Now, I understand exactly what you're saying. It's unexpected. You don't expect Paul to become a writer of the Bible and become Apostle Paul. You expected him to continue killing Christians and be an evil man, right? And same thing is, you don't expect Jesus that's coming in on a donkey to be your king, to be your Lord, right? But human beings, they just don't understand that. They don't understand that I can be wearing a Looney Tunes Toon Squad shirt, right? And I could have $400 million on my bank account, but I bought this from PacSun for $20. It just really, really, really depends. The human mind is really good at judgment. You see someone hop out of Lamborghini, you think they're a millionaire. You see someone hop out of a Honda Civic, you think they're broke. That's just how we perceive the world. Now, the dangerous thing about this is Jesus is a pure man. Jesus is a sinless man. Jesus worked miracles. Jesus is a prophet of God. Jesus is the one who actually brought Christianity. I have a big problem with Apostle Paul. I have a big problem with Paul because how do we know to trust Paul? Who told us trust Paul? Was it Jesus? Jesus told us trust Paul? No. So that's my biggest problem. Is there's no gospel of Jesus that tells me that Paul is a trustworthy source. So what we're going to do, we're going to look real quick. I don't want to make this video too long either. I think it's short and sweet about Paul here. Acts 22. Paul says, brothers and fathers, listen to what I have to say to you. When they heard him speak to them in their own language, they stopped making noise and then said, I am a Jew. I was born in the city of Tarsus in the country of Cilicia. And when I was a young man, I lived here in Jerusalem. I went to middle school and learned all about the law and the early fathers. I worked hard for God as all you do today. I worked hard and killed men and women who believe as I believe today. I put them in chains and sent them to prison. The head religious leader and leaders of the people can tell you this is true. I got letters from them to take to our Jewish brothers in the city of Damascus. I was going to put the Christians in chains and bring them to Jerusalem, where they would be beaten. So this is a Jewish man who was high up in Rome, and this man would arrest Christians, chain them up, beat them, kill them, and magically, I was near Damascus. All at once, about noon, I saw a bright light from heaven shining around me. I fell to the ground and a voice said to me, Saul, Saul, why do you work so hard against me? I said, who are you, Lord? He said to me, I am Jesus of Nazareth, the one you are working against. Those who saw me in the Those who were with me saw the light, but they did not hear him speaking to me. I asked, Lord, what should I do? The Lord said to me, get up, go to Damascus. You will be told what to do there. So, this is a man who was scrutinizing Christians, trying to destroy Jesus, his word, his name, his everything. And God just magically appeared in the sky and told him, yo, stop doing what you're doing, go to Damascus. And he was like, all right, cool. What Paul has done here is made himself a prophet. He has specified importance on him and only himself, relaying and saying that this is my testimony. The other people that were with me, you can go ask them, but all they saw was light. They didn't hear the testimony. All they saw was light. So he's telling the people that he's telling, like, even if you walk into someone that was leading behind, I was leading, they couldn't even tell you what Jesus of Nazareth said when he came from the sky to me. All they saw was a light. So what Paul is basically telling us is, believe me, bro, I was murdering and scrutinizing Christians and chaining them up and imprisoning them and high up in the Roman Empire and in the government systems. And then just magically one day a light came down from the sky, like I'm a prophet, like I'm Jesus or Moses, like Moses when God came from the mountain. And boom, I'm now Apostle Paul. I just traveled. I created the Bible. I wrote half of it. I'm a trustworthy source. I'm this. I think Paul is one of the only people in history that has gone ahead and gave credibility to himself. And people actually believe it. Paul has given so much credibility to his own self. I don't know why people trust him. Why would you trust a man like this? Jesus didn't give him authority. Jesus didn't give him. He didn't put a sword on him in or it wasn't one of his disciples. So it's like, why do people trust Paul? And Paul is a very big part of the Bible. So it's like, and Paul says things that counteract John and Luke and Mark. So it's like, I don't know, man. There's just something about Paul that really, really, really throws me off, and he sets me off. George, I just don't like the fact that you kind of compared, Paul and how God worked through Paul with, like, Jesus coming on a donkey. I just don't like when you compare people who were trying to destroy Jesus and destroy Christianity to Jesus. Jesus is one of the most important human beings to ever walk this earth, and he is the Messiah and he will return, not Paul. And I understand you're not comparing them, but I'm just telling you from an internet standpoint, when you use that terminology the way you used it. And I know, George, you can't say everything the right way all the time. It's impossible. We're human beings. I get that. I say things all the time, like, you're way, way, way better at this than me. Like, you're going to watch your mouth way better than me. I'm going to say things that are going to get me in way more trouble or distort someone's brain way more than the way you're saying it right now. But I'm letting you know that just making that comparison between the two, and a lot of people's brains don't sit the way you were trying to say it. It sits in a very different way. And comparing a murderer who was trying to destroy Christianity and destroy the name of Jesus to Jesus himself is wild, and people don't really understand how that drops or operates in their head. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you so much for coming in today, guys. I appreciate you. Anyone that's stuck here for the last couple months, that has been with me, that has subscribed, that's been watching the videos, that's been learning and growing with me, thank you so much. I appreciate you more than anything. We're over 500 subscribers. We're on our way to 1,000. I really enjoy engaging, talking about these topics, and getting into it with everyone. I think it's important. I think that if you have a tool in front of you like the internet, you should utilize it. If I'm learning things and I'm engaging with specific things and specific topics, I want to engage with people that are involved in the same topics and the same things. That is how we grow together. That is how we push forward, and that is how we make connections. So thank you guys very much for coming in today. Thank you for watching, and until the next time, God bless you. Like, subscribe, and let me know what you think. Love you. Bye.